This is Judd, and I am daydreaming about dragons. If you are just waking up, you're on your way to work, I hope you have a great one. If you are in the midst of the weekend or on your way back from work, I hope you had a great day. Hope you get everything set up tonight so that tomorrow is even better. I would like to talk a little bit, just 10 seconds, about the last episode. I'm still getting used to this Anchor app, still getting used to playing with this toy. If you listen to a 10-minute episode that was only a little bit of a mess, that was what I wanted. If you listen to a 40-minute disaster that also had a second episode attached onto it, that was a mistake. And I apologize for wasting your time. And we'll do better next time. That's what this is all about. Getting something out every Sunday, sharing some thoughts, kind of brainstorming out loud into my phone mic, and doing that with consistency, and then seeing what that builds, seeing how the structure of the podcast builds off of that, and listening to that, feeling it, getting feedback from you all, and moving on. So, and changing things, because we can be kind of fast and loose with it. So that's how we're going to rock it. Don't want to podcast too much about podcasting, just letting you in on the process just a little bit. If you want to know more, ask. If you have suggestions, hit me with them. And the Anchor app allows that, so just hit me with a message. I want to talk about two things today. No links today. We're just going to do a little bit about gaming and then a little bit about inspiration. I've been tinkering with my D&D hack. I'm writing I don't know if it's my Heartbreaker or if I'm just taking all my house rules and shoving them into one big pile. I'm not sure what it is yet. What it is a Google Doc mess and a bunch of little notes here and there in my bullet journal. And I'm thinking about death and characters dying. I like the idea that when a character goes down, you roll some dice, and after that many rounds, death shows up. It just shows up. I'm not sure what that's going to look like. There might be a couple of tables so you can randomly do it. There might be, hey, if they died in this manner, this is the type of death that worked out. If they died in this other manner, if they died in a spiked pit, it's going to be, the eternal kobold whose eyes suck in light and mouth and teeth are spike out of a pit. If you died fighting the city guard, maybe it's a hanged man, floating around, chastising stupid adventurers for fighting the city guard. Why do you guys always do this? You can take all those iconic ways that players have died over the years, and they're going to die again, and you can give it its own incarnation of death. And all those different incarnations can have, a little bit of a different spin to them. Cool. Okay, so death shows up, right? And I think it's just like any other encounter. You can fight, you can fend it off, you can make a deal. I don't know. What does that look like? I need to think about rules about what happens if they fight him off, or her off, or it off. What happens to the player? Is the player just a ghost now? Does the ghost get put back in the body? Do they have to do some magic hoodoo to get the ghost back in the body? Is death going to be back? How long is death going to be back for? Is death in a rush? I don't know. These are things I need to figure out, but I like it. It's fun. It turns death, which can be something that's really not fun, into something that's fun. And the other thing that there's an option is just like, hey, you know what? This is not worth fighting about. This character goes. They deserve to die. Or hey, you know what, guys? That was a good death. I'm happy with that. I'm going. I don't want death to be meaningless. I'm not trying to take that away, because that is not what I want. But I also just want it to be like another encounter, help flesh out the cosmology, and just keep things strange. Not necessarily a grim reaper, but definitely, some kind of cosmic engine that's fueling this thing. Thinking about Godbound a little bit, thinking about Circle of Hands, and the way in that game, when a character dies in the middle of the adventure, they can still kind of follow the rest of the players around as a ghost and kind of offer some helping dice here and there. I like that idea. Stealing that sucker. I want death to be meaningful. I want characters to die. I don't want it to be just reincarnation city where raising from the dead is easy. But I want death to be something kind of interesting. But it does bring up a bunch of interesting world building questions, right? When peasants just die of old age, why don't they just, round up the family and fend death off? Or really, more importantly, when the king dies, why doesn't he bring up his paladin and his royal guard and say, listen, I don't want to go? I mean, it could just be a bad idea. Right. Did you hear Peppercat? Peppercat's meowing. It's a good question. Why aren't they doing this? Maybe it's a really bad idea. Maybe a king who is also undead is not going to have the populace backing him. They're going to have people turning on him. It's going to, maybe if a king turns to undeath, it voids his choice of an heir. Now we're like, by doing this, you've messed up your dynastic choices. You've messed up your dynasty and your name and your family. Maybe that's why they don't do it. You got to kind of look at the motivations and think about why are they not doing this stuff. And that's fun. Those are fun mind games to play. Those are fun, it's called Daydreaming About Dragons. Here it is. Here's one of them. Love it. So I'm just thinking about this stuff, thinking about it out loud, thinking about how I'm going to do it at the table. If I was going to dream about how I was going to play this game, it would either be one of two ways. It would either be on a Sunday morning, kind of like a brunchy game. You wake up, have your cup of coffee, clink it with your brothers and sisters in gaming, and get to gaming. Morning gaming is way underrated. That's a whole other segment. Other way I would love to play it is just kind of like Friday night, Friday night, the week is over, kind of a Shabbat vibe, rock out with some gaming. Love that idea. So, I don't know, Friday night, Sunday morning, neither of those fits into my life right now. Face-to-face gaming, not so great. I'm doing a lot of online gaming. So maybe I'll make one of those time slots happen. If I do, you'll know about it and you'll hear about how it goes. All right, let's talk about inspiration just for a second. I watched the movie Outlaw King. It's on Netflix. Christopher Pine, the new Captain Kirk. Don't get into New Trek with me. Let's not do that right now. It's a whole other conversation. Stay on the ball. Robert the Bruce. It's a cool kind of historical drama. I think the first half of the movie is way stronger than the second half, but the second half is pretty good. It's a pretty brutal battle. I don't think it's anything we haven't seen before, but it's still pretty good. I liked it. Again, I thought the first half was less the big battles and more these little moments that I thought were really kind of amazing. But here's the moment of the movie for me. Watch it. Tell me what you think. But here's where it grabbed me by the scruff of the neck. I was watching it. The King of England is sending his son to go do war on Scotland because they've rebelled in their eyes, right? And he says, the codes of chivalry and honor are void and null. Just go do what you've got to do. That was, I just love that idea. I mean, I know if someone is trying to stab you in the eye, chivalry, schmivalry, honor, schmonor, you're just going to do what you've got to do. But just hearing a character say that out loud blew me away. It just grabbed me. Like I was caught, absolutely caught. That was a big moment for me. There's another face stabbing moment in the beginning where it got my attention, and I was in for that moment. I don't want to ruin it for you. Let's talk about this King of England moment. It translated right into my gaming. Right, a week later, I'm playing Burning Wheel, and Sean's character is Bina. She's this shoeless peasant who's trying to stop this war because this war is going to decimate her village, and she's talking to an elvish ranger who has been sent to scout ahead, and she's in the north, heading for the dwarven line to see what's going on. And off that, Puppercat, off that. The elf is talking about the war, and the elf says, the Ethark, the elven Ethark, who started this war, has said to us that the stars are no longer holding us to laws of honor and mercy. The stars have turned their back on us while we are conducting this war. We no longer need to act in any kind of honorable manner. We can do what we want. And yeah, totally. Like, right, I'm totally ripping off the Outlaw King. But I like the stars. I like to give it kind of a visual vibe. And at the end of the game, when they ventured out and they got out from under the cloud cover, the sky was starless. Loved it. Good stuff. Fun. So there it is. There's a bit about gaming, a bit about how inspiration fed right into my gaming. Hope that works for you. The show will continue to change, continue to evolve. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you saw Outlaw King, let me know what you thought. What have you been watching? What have you been dealing with that's inspired something into your gaming? Let me know how it's fed in. I'd love to hear more about it. If you've got ideas about death and incarnations of death and ghosts and players dying that you'd like to share that too. Hit me up with it. Cool thing about Anchor is that we can share each other's thoughts. We can have a little bit of a conversation. Love it. Gonna start taking that up and listening to more shows. I'm listening to a bunch now, but I'm gonna start hitting the button and leaving you guys and gals messages. So it's coming. Thank you so much. Thank you for daydreaming about dragons with me. Daydreaming, yep. And I was walking around the apartment, so if you're hearing the creaking of the wood floors, thank you for walking with me. If you're hearing Pupper Cat, you're welcome. I'm sorry that you all can't pet her. The technology just hasn't gotten there yet. I'll see you next Sunday night. Have a good one.